And we are now going to take you through the posts of how world leaders are reacting to US's unprecedented operation. Multiple posts coming in from leaders across the globe. But before that, there's also an update as per reports in the strikes that were carried out by the United States in Venezuela. The latest reports are suggesting that at least 40 people have lost their lives. But now it is Belarus. What is Belarus saying? The Belarusian side is reaffirming its unwavering support for the legitimate government of Venezuela and also joins the call for an urgent convening of the United Nations Security Council, which bears primary responsibility for maintaining global peace. The Republic of Belarus emphasizes that the right of Venezuelan people to determine their own future is inviolable. No form of external interference, particularly through force, can be justified. So here they're taking a stand against the US's action, saying no form of external interference, particularly through force, can be justified. This is what Belarus has to say. China and Russia too are condemning the actions of the United States. Now China says that China is deeply shocked and strongly condemns the US's blatant use of force against a sovereign state and action against its president. Such hegemonic acts of the United States seriously violate international law and Venezuela's sovereignty and also threatens peace and security in Latin America and the Caribbean region. China firmly opposes it. We call on the United States to abide by international law and the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and stop violating other countries' sovereignty and security. China strongly condemns what has happened. Russia too has taken a position. Russia says, in view of the confirmed reports that Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his spouse being in the United States, we strongly urge US leadership to reconsider their position and also release the legitimately elected president of the sovereign country and his spouse. So Russia, while is now urging the United States to release Maduro. Mark Carney also says that one of the first actions taken by Canada's new government in March 2025 was to impose additional sanctions on Nicolás Maduro's brutally oppressive and criminal regime, unequivocally condemning his grave breaches of international peace and security, gross and systematic human rights violations and corruption. Canada has not recognized the illegitimate regime of Maduro since it stole the 2018 election. The Canadian government therefore welcomes the opportunity of freedom, of democracy, of peace and prosperity for the Venezuelan people. Canada has long supported a peaceful, negotiated and Venezuelan-led transition process that respects the democratic will of Venezuelan people. In keeping with our long-standing commitment to upholding the rule of law, sovereignty and human rights, Canada calls on all parties to respect international laws. We stand by the people of we stand by their sovereign right to decide and build their future in peaceful and democratic manner. And Giorgia Meloni also says, I follow the developments in Venezuela since the very first evolutions. Italy, together with the main international partners, has never recognized Maduro's self-proclaimed electoral victory, condemning the regime's acts of repression, and has always supported the Venezuelan people's aspiration to a democratic transition. Consistent with Italy's historic position, the government believes that external military action is not the part to put an end to totalitarian regimes, but at the same time considers legitimate an intervention of a defensive nature against hybrid attacks on its own security, as in the case of state entities that fuel and favor narco-trafficking. We continue to follow with particular attention the situation of the Italian community in Venezuela, whose security constitutes the government's absolute priority. So here are the reactions that are coming in from world powers, from global leaders. Keir Starmer now says, the UK has long supported a transition of power in Venezuela. We regarded Maduro as an illegitimate president and we shed no tears about the end of his regime. Then Keir Starmer reiterates his support for international law this morning. The UK government will discuss the evolving situation with counterparts in the United States in days ahead as we seek a safe and peaceful transition to a legitimate government that reflects the will of the Venezuelan people. So here global leaders, yes, are divided, and then more reactions also coming in. Anthony Albanese says that the Australian government is monitoring developments in Venezuela. We urge all parties to support dialogue and diplomacy in order to secure regional stability and prevent escalation. Australia has long held concerns about the situation in Venezuela, including the need to respect democratic principles, human rights and fundamental freedoms. We continue to support international law and a peaceful democratic transition in Venezuela that reflects the will of the Venezuelan people. Australians in Venezuela who need assistance can contact the 24/7 emergency consular assistance team. So World powers have taken a position here. Srinjoy is with us. Srinjoy, the larger question that many are asking, are we looking at a new precedence that has been set by the United States? You've seen how world leaders have reacted to the developments. Most of them, while there are many who criticize Maduro's totalitarian ways, but at the same time, there are questions that are being raised on the way United States executed this operation.
Very nuanced positions from the British, the Italians, and even the Australians. Now, these are all allies of America. We are not talking Belarus, we are not talking China or Russia. Now, see what the Italians have said, or even the British have said. They are saying that, well, or even the Canadians, we don't like Maduro. We don't approve of Maduro. We don't like his autocratic ways. But there, in all these statements, there is a but. That's very important. And the but is couched in many different kinds of language. It's all diplomatese. But at the end of the day, the point that is being made is we don't like Maduro, we don't like what he did, but has America done the right thing? That's the question that Starmer, Meloni, Albanese, Carney, all these people are not saying this directly, but they are raising it in a slightly nuanced manner.
Absolutely.
That we have nothing to do with Maduro. We are not fond of him at all. But has America done the right thing? That's a question that is being raised very discreetly. You have to read between the lines. You have to read these statements very clearly to know that they are a little troubled.
Absolutely. And rightly